Hi, I hope you guys are keeping well. Today in the grammar section for class 8th, I'm on page number 188 and I'm taking punctuation before I go to prepositions, which was the second chapter. Why I did that is because often I have realized when I check your assignments and homework is that children are still struggling to understand um, the importance and the need to put these marks. So that is why I just want to brush it up before you are preparing yourself to sit for your exams. Punctuation. When we speak, we use pauses, intonation, and voice modulation to make our meaning clear. In writing, we use punctuation marks to do so. It's almost like if I'm talking to you, hi, my name is Sabita. How are you? And I live in Leh. And do you know that I have a sunflower farm? And then I have a sunflower farm. And then when I go there, I pluck. And then I eat. I make sunflower oil. And then I eat. I make some sunflower cakes also. Something like that. Do you understand? What I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to tell you something, but it's so continuous that maybe you do not know what am I talking about, and my conversation becomes very doesn't look very doesn't sound very nice, because there's everything is so inconsistent. So in the same way, when you're talking, and again I'll say, hi, my name is Tabitha and I live in Leh. I want to tell you that I have a sunflower farm, and then we grow sunflowers. We produce sunflower oil, we produce sunflower husk cakes, and we manufacture sunflower oil. So what I'm doing is that I'm stretching and I am stopping wherever I have to stop. If you have seen a VCT player or a music player at home, you must have seen there's something called stop, where that means that you are stopping it completely, and then there's a button called pause. Pause means when you're stopping for a moment, momentarily. You're not stopping permanently. So something like that is happens in conversation. When you're stopping for some time, maybe to take a breath, maybe to show that you are adding more information to your conversation. So in the same way, when we are writing in English as a language, we cannot show that we are breathing, we are stopping, we are adding. How do we show that? We show these indications by a couple of marks. So these are basic rules that we have to follow when we are writing. Remember that what we are doing today in class 8th is not only for class 8th. We are preparing ourselves for our board examinations. We are preparing ourselves for to be in a position to write English correctly, because you are not going to be in 8th for the rest of your lives. So when you are sitting for your higher examinations like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the board has set a certain marking criteria where you are given 1.5 to 2 extra marks if you are following the rules of writing as far as English is concerned. If you are putting the punctuation marks correctly, if you are breaking your answer into paragraphs, things like that matter a lot in writing. And so these will be marked in whenever you are writing on your book, or in your notebook or exams. But don't take it only as a marking criteria, but these are just rules that you have to remember for the rest of your life. We always begin a sentence with a capital letter and end it with a full stop. Everyone knows that when we start a sentence, we use starter, capital letter. Not many children in class 8, when they generally do use a capital letter. So you have to use the first sentence, the first letter of a sentence will start with a capital letter. Remember that. Please tell us a story. These are examples in your book. We had a great holiday. If you can see that, please tell us a story. P is in capital letters, and we had a great holiday. W is in capitals. So all proper nouns are spelled beginning with a capital letter. Proper noun is always starts with a with a capital letter, like the Ganga, Mount Everest, Mithun, Vijayawada, things like that. Abbreviation, short forms, and acronyms are written in capital letters. If I say USA, I don't think you will see USA written in small letters. USA, United States of America, is always written in capital letters. And RBI, Reserve Bank of India, abbreviations are always written. A full stop may or may not be used. Full stop is not necessary, but this is how, whenever you're writing abbreviations, it's always in capital letters. These are a couple of marks which show that you're stopping for some time or permanently, like a full stop, a question mark when you're asking questions, exclamation mark when you're expressing an emotion, you're showing an emotion, and there's a comma when you're adding information, a semicolon, colon, apostrophe, quotation marks when you are marking a statement, when you're trying to signify that this is a very important statement, hyphen and dash, henceforth. So, we use the full stop at the end of a sentence. I hope everyone knows that. Full stops are used with some abbreviations also. Like MA, if I'm a Master's in Arts, so I'll put, if that's a degree, or if I'm writing Mr. or Miss. Let's say, for example, if I say Miss Tundub Dolma, so Miss, whenever I'm writing Miss, which is a title, which shows your marital status or whether you're single or married, you have to put a full stop. Full stops are used as the decimal point in figures also, if I'm talking about full stop in terms of currency or money. So if it's 16.245, so point shows the added information that you want to put. Full stop also used to separate parts of an email address. Question mark is used at the end of a question to express emotions like surprise, excitement, anger, sorrow. We use the exclamation mark. So these are what you say. And then comma. This is one of the most frequently very mistaken field. We use a comma when listing a series of things. When you're adding information to the sentence, I want to eat one chocolate cake, lemon juice, chicken supreme pizza. So you're adding on information about what are the things that you want to eat. When you do that, you put a comma. Yeah. So when you're adding information about more than one thing, two things, or three things, you put a comma. We need to buy paint, brushes, and sandpaper. So paint is one information, brushes is two information. So because this more information, you put a comma. If there are two or more adjectives that describe a noun, she is smart, intelligent, and very, very clever. So these adjectives describe a girl. And in this, if there's an adjective, there are more than one complements, in the form of adjective, you put a comma. So the example says the smart, comma, well-dressed man was chosen for the job, which is correct. The smart, well-dressed man was, and then, so you don't put a comma with the last thing. Remember that. Use the comma when referring to a city and state together. We had to go to Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh for the match. It's almost like we travel to Leh, Jammu and Kashmir. Now we don't say Jammu and Kashmir. Leh, Union Territory, on a motorbike. So you put a comma between Leh and the Union Territory. When adding information about the subject with a break in the sentence, when you're adding more information, it's almost like Ram is a writer. He also plays football. You're adding more information. A phrase that introduces a sentence but is not part of the subject or the predicate is called an introductory phrase. We use a comma to separate. Okay, now don't get confused. Phrases and clauses will be taken later. just for the time being, I'm trying to explain that whenever you are adding extra information, you put a comma. So these are the things. When addressing someone directly, we use a comma to separate, It's like, have you been to Goa, Rahul? So if I'm asking a question to someone directly, did you eat your breakfast, Ram? Something like that, If I'm asking a question directly to Ram, so I put a comma. We use comma to separate two independent parts of the sentence. Clauses means two major parts of the sentence. So then that is a scenario when we are using a comma. Okay, now then we have a semicolon. We use the semicolon to separate two related but independent clauses. Two major parts of I'm not going to phrases and clauses because you'll get confused. Whenever you see a sentence which is a very long sentence, but it has, the beginning of the sentence and the end of the sentence has information, so that is a time when you put a comma. That is what I'm trying to say. A semicolon. Colon is, we use a colon to introduce a word, phrase, a sentence, a quotation, or a list. Karan, can you think of only one thing? Music? Understand? When you're introducing a new topic in the sentence, you put a colon. Okay. Apostrophe. The apostrophe along with the letter S is used to show possession. We use the apostrophe and S with a singular noun. My father, when you're trying to show the ownership, So when you're trying to mention as in whom does it actually belongs to, you put an apostrophe. So these are the things. Quotation marks, We use quotation marks to set off or quote the exact words that have been used by someone or taken from a piece of writing. When you are rewriting someone else's dialogue, you put a quotation mark. You're just narrating or you are rewriting someone else's words, and you're repeating and rewriting it, you put quotation marks. Hyphen is most commonly used to join two separate words to form a single word, often called a compound word. So these are things. Then comes dash. The dash is slightly longer than a hyphen and should not be confused in usage. Hyphen and dash are different. So there is usually a space before and after the dash. The dash is used to set off a word or phrase after an independent clause or to separate words, phrases, or clauses that interrupt a sentence. So these are the marks. So I hope you understand this and we are just just try to follow the punctuation marks wherever they are supposed to, so that your conversation and your answers look nice and presentable.